Jessica Pettway died at 36 years old on March the 11th, 2024. Let's talk about this. I am Xana Monique, otherwise known as Sue, but you can call me either, and this is Let's Have a Chat. We're going to break down what happened with Jessica Pettway, as this is a part of chronic illness, mental health, and hidden disabilities, and what happens with Black women when it comes to health disparities across the world. Jessica Pettway is the mother of 2 children, and she is the wife of her husband Michael, and she was a YouTube influencer, a fashion influencer, and this is what happened to her. I'm going to break down things for you, and you can let me know what you think. On July the 1st, 2022, her husband, Michael, found her in a bathroom unresponsive, and apparently it seems as if she was not even breathing. So therefore, obviously, she was rushed to the hospital, and she had a lot of blood loss. She was told it was because of fibroids. Red flag number 1. Red flag number 2 is that she was not checked for the fibroids. Anyway, because she was hemorrhaging, she was given some blood transfusions, and then she was sent home. Unfortunately, like what a lot of us would do, she checked with her peers to find out if this was normal. Was it normal to be bleeding like this profusely? And because we tend to normalize this sort of thing, yes, it was normal. We all get this. But things did not let up. Later in the same month, she was, of course, hospitalized once more with the same thing. And she was told yet again that it was fibroids. Again, she was not checked. Time went on and the situation worsened. She went into hospital yet again in January 2023. They told her actually they could not perform surgery on her to have the fibroids removed because she had a loss of too much blood. Therefore, yet again, she was given blood transfusions, but the situation did not let up. She went back to hospital again in February 2023. It was only at this time that she was actually checked. And it was seen that not even her cervix could be observed because there was a mass. After a biopsy, she was told, without enough empathy, of course, that she had stage 3 cervical cancer. After this, she held on to the fact that surely this could not be it. I am not going to be claiming this. Her spiritual journey, her spiritual walk became even stronger. She spoke out about this. She was claiming it in Jesus' name with good intention. However, unfortunately, it was on March the 11th of this year, 2024, that she passed. Now, let's talk about this for a minute. The main thing here is she was incorrectly diagnosed. She was diagnosed with fibroids when in fact she had cancer. If she was diagnosed beforehand, this could have been treated. Whether or not she would have to have a hysterectomy or whatever, the prognosis would at least have given her a fighting chance. When I first looked into this story, I couldn't quite understand how she was unconscious. She was not even breathing. Surely that should be an indicator that something was amiss other than the fibroids. And even if it was just the fibroids, surely it was enough for her to actually have a check. Unfortunately, she did not even have a vaginal check. She did not have the proper standard procedures of an MRI, etc., to see if anything was going on with her fibroids. When you have fibroids, you get an ultrasound to see what's going on. She did not even get that. Now, I don't understand why doctors still think this way, but let's go back in time a little bit. Regardless of what anyone would like to believe, most things regarding health are based off the typical white male. So therefore, females in general are not taken seriously. Even more so, people who fall into the minority category are not taken seriously. So therefore, when you have a period as a woman and you bleed a lot, it's automatically thought, oh, that's just normal. You just have a heavy period. Or you just suffer with heavy periods in general. So whatever, it's fine. No, it's not fine. It's better to err on the side of caution. But this does not happen. This has even happened with myself with certain things. In general, the statistics are like this. And let's go to the US. According to theguardian.com, they are saying that according to the CDC, 58% of non-Hispanic Black women who are diagnosed with cervical cancer at an early stage live for 5 or more years. Another statistic for you, Indigenous and Black women have higher rates of new cervical cancer in the US as compared with women of other races. And the National Cancer Institute says that the survival rate of all people with cervical cancers is about 67%. And unfortunately, other than the unusual vaginal bleeding, early cervical cancer typically has no symptoms. We are going to come out of just cervical cancer, and we are just going to be more broad when it comes to Black women's health or people of minority. I am going to bu.edu or The Brink and the article Racism, Sexism, and the Crisis of Black Women's Health. And I'm going to scroll all the way down and come to this particular statement. Black women are more likely than other racial and ethnic groups to die from cardiovascular disease, hypertension, stroke, lupus, and several cancers. They are twice as likely than white women to develop diabetes over the age of 55 or have uncontrolled blood pressure. Another point, Black women also face greater challenges in accessing affordable and quality health care, including a lack of health insurance, higher medical debt, and longer travel times to hospitals. Of course, this is in the USA, but let's travel across the pond and go to the UK and see what is said there. So I'm visiting the site news.cancerresearchuk.org. And I'm taking a look at the article, New Analysis Reveals Black Women in England are more likely to be diagnosed with late-stage cancer. There is a comment by a John Shelton on that site, and it says, if people can't get appointments that work for them, aren't being referred for tests in a timely way, or are languishing on wait lists, they will not see the benefits of early diagnosis, and we risk exacerbating these inequalities. Now, that makes sense to me, but I do wonder what the powers that be think. So in this article, they have included a study which was published on BMJ Open, and that has revealed that Black women from the Caribbean and African backgrounds are more likely to be diagnosed with certain types of cancer at later stages, which is 3 and 4, when treatment is less likely to be successful. This study is the first to show that ethnicity is a significant factor in late-stage diagnosis for women with breast, ovarian, uterine, non-small cell lung cancer and colon cancer, and for men with prostate cancer. The study included almost 700,000 diagnoses of these 6 cancer types. It is found that Caribbean women are more likely to receive a late-stage diagnosis than white women for all of the cancers. All 5 of those cancers, and then for the men, definitely more than their white counterparts. For African women, they have higher odds of being diagnosed with late-stage breast, uterine, colon, and ovarian cancers. In the case of uterine cancer specifically, both Caribbean and African women are significantly more likely to be diagnosed at stages 3 and 4 than their white counterparts. Now, we can go further into other minority groups. So for South Asian women, which includes those from India, Bangladeshi, and Pakistani backgrounds, they're at higher odds of being diagnosed with late-stage breast and ovarian cancers. Outside of what was said by John Shelton, there are these other really sad reasons why. So there was another survey carried out by YouGov for Cancer Research UK, and it was said that 23% of women versus the 12% of their white counterparts, ethnic minority women are less likely to report that they did not know of the warning signs or symptoms of the particular cancers that they have. And they have put off going to a medical professional because they find it embarrassing and they don't feel confident in talking about what's going on with them. They also are worried about their pay or their earnings and how they would be affected. And that is 5% versus 1% for their white counterparts. And they anticipate the difficulties with remote consultations, 10% versus 6%. I will implore you to research for yourself. You may not like researching, but if you or your loved ones or your friends, your colleagues are going through or could go through anything like this, please research for yourself because support is needed and we need to break these sorts of chains. I personally am livid about what has happened with Jessica and how her family now would be affected. But unfortunately, this happens on both sides of the pond. I can tell you for a fact for myself, I've gone through two different things that I will mention here. I've gone through other things, believe you me, but two different things from two different perspectives. One, I had a breast issue, and you can see it here where it was suspected that I may have had a certain type of blood cancer. A few years prior, I was beginning to have issues, and the doctor did not even touch me, looked at me with disdain and told me that whatever was going on with me is fine, is nothing to be bothered about. And then I ended up in hospital a couple of years later. The second thing does not have to do with cancer, but it has to do with how Black women or Black people are treated in general regarding health, where I had this situation happened to me last year, and I had to get tests done. And the doctor that I dealt with then proceeded to show me statistics about how Black people are more than likely to participate in this, and they're more likely to have certain diseases from those things. I couldn't understand why she thought that that was necessary. But the fact is that there are so many of us out there, and I know of other people as well, who are vying and advocating for health checks for themselves regarding things like their periods and fibroids, and trying to see if they can get hysterectomies or some sort of surgery, and even if they can be seen in general, and they're waiting forever on lists. So I just thought I'd bring this up, and we need to talk about this more. It sucks what has happened with Jessica and her family, but it happens to so many other women, so many other people of minority status. This is Let's Have a Chat. We need to talk about these things some more. So talk down in the comment section and let me know if you've gone through anything regarding this. I'm Xana Monique, and I'll talk to you later.